Alright guys, Shotty T here with an Alliance War video. This is Season 18, War number 5. This is going to be the first war of the season that we do not bring Quake. So we get a chance to see some variety in fighting this time instead of being bored with Quake and Shake. But very first fight here, we have an all or nothing thing. I did scout the opponents before I went in. So I figured, yeah, we're just going to use Warlock for this fight. Even if you didn't have Suicides, I was going to use him anyway, but I probably could have used Dr. Doom also. But this fight is a little safer. Just parry heavy. Use this Degeneration against him with Power Drain, as well as Degeneration. And by the time I get to SP3, I can always use the SP3 to heal back all the damage that I lost. I waited for his protection to go down before I launched my SP3 so that way I can maximize damage. And I can control the rock stats just with the parry heavy, because the heavy normally would apply bleed, but since he's bleed immune, what it does is just prevents a rock stack from forming, so I can just maintain control this whole time. So if I had Quake, it would have been a challenging fight because of the brute force, but again, we don't have Quake, so we don't have to worry about that. Like I said, some of these fights could have been Quake, but I needed Warlock this war, and you'll see there were some fights that I really needed Warlock for that I wouldn't have been able to use Quake for, at least successfully, and it would have been problem fights. So this is exactly why I brought Warlock this war. But next fight here, we have All or Nothing Dr. Voodoo, which is kind of a bad placement because his power gain, I mean not his power gain, but his health gain at the very beginning of the fight is completely nixed because of the fisticuffs. And yeah, my armor up is also nixed, but at least I can gain that back. He can't gain his regeneration back. And I get it, he's a flow defender, so maybe with this placement they've gotten kills with him before because someone may bring the wrong matchup. But usually if you bring most of the time for All or Nothing, you're gonna have people bring in the right counters like Vision or Magic, start Spidey with the taunt. So really, all of those opponents can handle Dr. Voodoo on this nose. So I just don't understand the placement. But hey, same pattern that we did with the thing fight, just parry heavy, and this time the difference is he can bleed. So you use the SP3 to heal yourself, and we'll just watch his health melt away with the rest of the flow from the power drain and the bleeding. So that was the end of that fight. Now the next fight coming up here is a little tricky. We have a Juggernaut on brute force. So you have two unstoppables to worry about, plus you have to worry about the brute force. So you can't just sit back and wait until all the unstoppables wear off. So at the beginning of the fight, it's a little challenging because he has this unstoppable ability at the very beginning, and then by then the timer is almost near for his first unstoppable to come, and I was able to stagger that one, but then got this SP2 because you also have that added power boost on this particular node, power focus that is, and then he gets passive when I try to apply another stagger. So now he's out of control. I probably should have applied another stagger right there, but it all good. So we're starting to get a little bit under control, but then he has another unstoppable that pops up, so I just use my SP1 to nullify that. And he gets passive again when I want to try to apply another stagger with a combo, because I want to try to apply 2 staggers before that timer wears off, so that way I don't have to worry about dealing with his unstoppable off his special and also the unstoppable from the cycle. But I just never got to that particular rhythm. But I just use another SP1 to nullify the other unstoppable that comes. And then we got this fight under control. The timer is not quite there yet, and we just do another slap to cancel out that. Now we can finally do a full combo, SP3, and game over. Now Doom has pretty good physical resistance and block proficiency, so despite getting hit a few times, I still only lost 16% of my health. So and plus being a 6-star champ, you have that adrenaline mechanic to recover some lost energy. So the very next fight here, we have Iron Man Infinity War Node 22. Now, last war, this was kind of, I guess, a deleted scene. It was a war, just a fight. I forgot to post. But really, there was one mistake that was made that fight, and I got hit once when he was below 15% because he had that life steal, and he had 4 or 5 Fury stacks, and that one hit killed me. I think I got clipped trying to evade the SP1, and I had brought Human Torch originally to take on the Iron Man Infinity War on Node 22, where you don't have to worry about that Fury. So because I had future plans for Human Torch for the main boss, I wanted to give him extra insurance by applying that invulnerability boost as well as all those other boosts. Like I said, I didn't want to sacrifice my boss killer too much. So I just wanted to make this fight as short as possible without going crazy with the boost. And also another lesson that I learned from that original fight is that when he's a rank 5, I usually can just get him down with a SP2 and just watch the Nova Flames melt him away. But since he's a rank 5, I have to do the SP1 first. That way, by the time I get to my SP2, he'll be near the end of his life. So that way, I can just watch his health melt away without having to worry about that last 15%. So now it's about that time to do the SP2. So we go ahead and build up some Nova Flames there. And then we get the heavy attack. And that really should kill him. Now I kind of got irresponsible here. I risked unnecessary block damage. I would have melted his health away. And plus I potentially could have got clipped at that SP1 and died again. But that's exactly how I died last war, by the way, on that node. So the very next fight, this is the reason why I brought Warlock instead of Quake. Seasons back, I had a lineup similar to this. I had Human Torch, but I was saving him for the boss fight. So it was tough to bring him for this fight because the incinerates that are applied just gains health, and I don't want to waste my Nova Flames for this fight because I have plans on using that for the boss. But I didn't have Warlock, I used Quake, and I thought the Aftershock charges would offset the healing, but it really didn't. All it did was just cancel that health out. I mean, I was able to make some pacing with it, but I ended up timing out with Quake, and then the other people I had just wasn't compatible enough for this fight and actually did worse damage. He actually had more health remaining after those fights than he started with. So I ended up having to revive Quake to finish. Well, actually, I ended up making a mistake with Quake and ended up dying. Had to revive her. So that was just a disaster of a fight. But this particular one, Warlock, keep it simple, parry, get rid of the, build up the infection, parry heavy, ball game. So next fight here, we have Immortal, and this is the last fight for Warlock this particular war. So didn't really have to worry about using the boost. Now Quake, I probably could have Quaked this fight, but it would have been a little bit tricky because of his, unless the power gain, if it doesn't line up with the concussion, you have to hit into him a little bit. But the early on, I decided to just go ahead and parry to build up the infection and let the fun start. And this was also as a flow defender as well. So at this point, I'm trying to get a heavy attack to get rid of the flow charge or the power gain so he can launch a special, but he just keeps retreating into the corner. And actually, I paused the game by mistake. I wasn't going to quit that fight because SP3 does not do any damage at all. It's hardly any damage. Now, the only thing that it did do is that it gave him an extra buff, so that makes the infection not last as long. And as you can see, it kind of wore off there. And so I have to wait, retreat, actually blocked his SP1 by mistake, so it allowed me to take some degeneration damage. And now he has his flow, but you see the infection is kind of counteracting it at the same time, where the power gain is not crazy. But I do need to get a parry in there because that flow at 3 charges is out of control at times with the power gain. So now the fight is a little bit more under control. Once I got that first SB3 out the way. And as you can tell, I can't parry heavy him because I'll get astral evaded. So that's the reason why I can't just use that same simple strategy. But the infection's doing this work now. All right, SB2, and that gets rid of Mordo there. So again, that was the last Warlock fight of the war. Because I wasn't going to use him for a man thing. I was prepared to use Dr. Doom and just do an SB3 cycle and kill him. But somebody beat me to it with Quake, which is fine. It was a one shot, so no big deal. So next fight here, we have a Captain Marvel movie. Now Quake, the person that had Quake could have used Quake for this fight, but I said, yeah, let me just use Dr. Doom. I mean, she struggles against Mystics anyway, even with being debuff immune. Nope, I got her. So, and I figured since I still had some mileage to get out of Doom the rest of this war, I can use this as a free opportunity to heal myself with the Power 1 lock. But at the same time, I do not want to face her SB2 either, so I have to launch my SB1. But all that does is just siphons back the power and get me back to another SB1. And with Mystic Dispersion being at a 4 out of 5, my power just shoots up above a bar of power. I've actually been able to get to an SB3 with Dr. Doom on this node before, if you time it right. But anyway, that was a pretty textbook fight. Probably one of the easier fights of the war there, other than the first two. So next one here, we have Dr. Doom against Korg. Now, these are the last remaining mini bosses. So I go ahead and decide to employ my boost that I plan on using for the boss, which is a 30%, as well as a 15% attack boost. I think that's all I need. Don't really need a health boost here. And Doom is a pretty good matchup against Korg because you don't have to worry about the thorn damage at all. All the Doom's attack deals energy damage with the exception of his heavy attack. But in this fight, don't really have to worry about doing a heavy attack. You can't really chain that into a combo because Korg is immune to shock. So this is just a standard, just use your parries wisely because it's 20% limber side use. Doom's block proficiency, the Korg get into my block and bait heavies and just punish that way. I missed time. That's in the SP1 there. But I did get a nice intercept there, recover some of that lost health back. All right. So I used one of my parries there just to kind of put them back over 2 bars of power, and I have to deal with the SP1. And now we want to try to make sure the rock stats are gone before we go into our SP3, but I waited too late to attack to counter his heavy attack and took some damage in the face. But now that his rock stats are gone, I can go into my SP3. Maximize that damage there. Take him down 58%. So double medium, light, medium. Normally that gets me a full bar of power, but it didn't. I can just go straight into the SP1, and a lot of times, depending on how much power the opponent has, I can go straight from the SP1 to the SP2. But this SP2, some of it got mitigated with his rock stacks, but still 2 of those incinerators were able to stick. So again, I had saved my parries just in case they were needed for the very end of the fight, so I was able to use that parry there to finish them off. Now this next fight is probably going to be one of the funnest fights, or the most fun, or whatever, I'm not grammatically correct. So there's a little bit of risk here at the very beginning of the fight because it's all about the setup. So I do use a SB3 defense boost and also decide to chunk a couple of potions into Dr. Doom just in case. But I don't think his SB3 would have killed me with me having the SB3 defense boost. So it probably wasn't necessary to heal him in hindsight. But again, not taking any chances here. So, and you'll see the fun here. So first we get that first stagger in there, and I was hoping that that baited the SP1, but it pushed him right over up 2 bars of power, and I took an SP2. I wasn't prepared for that SP2. I was prepared for that, actually. And like I said, I try to stay away from the SP2 whenever I can. All right, so now we just do a 4-5 combo, SP3, and this is where the fun starts, baby. So with Doom being awakened, when you nullify an opponent's power gain buff, he gains power as well, and it just shoots up. And plus I have Mystic Dispersion being 4 out of 5, so you're just gonna see it just gets crazy with the cycles. And like I said, there's a little bit of risk because you can't really drain a lot of power from Vision Arcus with his light attacks like you would do most opponents. But again, it goes straight to another SP3, and do that double medium combo light. Normally I do 3 lights, but the power is just shooting up so much for me, I had to just go straight into another SP1 to siphon that power and help boost myself to get to SP3 by nullifying his power gain buffs. And as you can see, that's a pretty fun cycle once you get to that first SP3. You just win the game. So that was a pretty fun fight. So last fight here, we have the Dr. Doom. Yes, I've been on the game more often since the lockdown. But anyway, we got Human Torch here, who I've been using for Dr. Doom boss fights. So got the Nova Flame active, which is why I didn't want to waste it on any opponents earlier. It helps. I don't have to worry about the keeping up my regular incinerate buffs, because having the Nova Flames help whenever he launches specials to have the power sting in your favor. So right now I got 3 power stings, and plus you got the passive damage with the Nova Flames, so it just kind of melts him. And get another special there. I was able to dex another SP1, but when my debuff expired, since Doom is awakened, it put a shock debuff on me, so I have to kind of keep my distance so that way I don't get slapped in the face with this heavy attack. The AI tends to get programmed to auto attempt a heavy when within striking distance, so I didn't want to give them any ammunition there. So as you can see, this fight going pretty smooth. I try to refrain from hitting into his block too much when I have a buff on me, if he has the aura active, because it'll sometimes give me and I did a stupid mistake here. I do a SP2 when he has his aura active, and he resisted the last hit and slapped me in the face. So, but again, that boost did help sustain it. If I didn't have that 30% boost, I probably still would have been able to survive that. Probably be like around 20% health, but I'll be more nervous at that point. But with 50% health left, not nervous at all, as long as I don't get hit with a SP2 or I don't know, a combo, I should be fine. So this SP1 doesn't really deal a lot of damage, so even if you do get hit like I did right there. But anyway, so we go the whole war without Quake, all 1-shots, no deaths. And even as a group, we actually had our cleanest war of the season. Only 5 deaths. We had 1 more, but as an alliance, we still lost. It was pretty tight, as you can see there, but we ended up losing this war. But anyway, hope you guys like, subscribe, and share. You have a great day.